The loss of a spouse constitutes one of the most excruciating experiences an individual may endure. It encompasses not only the emotional burden of grief, but also the myriad decisions that unexpectedly burden one's shoulders. In such circumstances, it is facile to make choices driven by pain, loneliness, or external pressures. However, certain decisions may result in unwarranted regrets, financial hardships, or emotional setbacks that complicate the healing process. The reality is that, although grief is inherently personal, there are specific considerations that warrant careful contemplation prior to making decisions. In this video, we will examine 5 things to decline after the loss of a spouse, errors that many individuals inadvertently commit, only to recognize later that they were unprepared. These pitfalls can exacerbate an already challenging period. By understanding them beforehand, you can safeguard your emotional, financial, and physical well-being. Remain with me until the conclusion, as these insights extend beyond merely avoiding mistakes. They are essential for effectively navigating this phase of your life. Clarity, dignity, and the support you deserve. Let us commence. Firstly, making significant financial decisions prematurely is a prevalent error individuals commit following the loss of a spouse. It is comprehensible. Suddenly, one confronts bank accounts, insurance policies, investments, and potentially the dilemma of retaining or selling one's home. Amidst grief, it may seem that prompt action will yield stability or a semblance of control. However, the truth is that grief obscures judgment. Making irreversible financial decisions prematurely can result in future regrets, particularly when emotions are heightened. Choices that appear rational in the moment may not be optimal for the long term. Many widows and widowers experience pressure from well-intentioned friends, financial advisors, or their own sense of urgency to sell their home, relocate, or undertake significant investments. However, the months following the loss of a spouse are a period for emotional adjustment, not financial risk-taking. The most prudent course of action is to pause. Allow yourself adequate time to process your grief prior to making decisions that may have long-term implications. Consider the example of 74-year-old Margaret. Following the death of her husband, she received advice from numerous individuals to promptly downsize her residence. The rationale appeared sound: reduced maintenance, lower costs, and a new beginning. Consequently, within a few months, she sold the home they had occupied for 4 decades and relocated to a smaller flat in a differ. Her familiar surroundings, neighbors, and the comfort her home provided led her to reflect that she should have delayed her significant relocation. Financial decisions extend beyond real estate. Many newly widowed individuals become targets for financial predators who exploit vulnerability. This includes unsolicited investment opportunities, high-pressure sales tactics, or even well-meaning but misguided advice from acquaintances. It is imperative to exercise caution when someone pressures you to sign documents. Execute a significant withdrawal or invest hastily. However, it is prudent to pause. Optimal financial decisions are seldom the result of haste. Another prevalent error is the premature distribution of funds or assets. Grief frequently engenders an intense urge to assist others, be it children, grandchildren, charities, or close friends. While altruism is commendable, making substantial financial contributions or dividing assets prematurely may render you vulnerable in the future. What appears manageable at present may prove unsustainable in the long term. Prior to undertaking significant financial decisions, it is prudent to seek counsel from a reliable professional who comprehends your long-term requirements and can assist in strategic planning. The initial year following the loss of a spouse should focus on stabilization rather than drastic financial alterations. Experts frequently advocate the 1-year rule, which advises postponing irreversible financial choices for at least a year. This interval permits the emotional upheaval to subside, enabling clearer contemplation of what is genuinely advantageous for your future. The loss of a spouse is one of life's most challenging transitions, is compounded by the additional stress of financial missteps that could have been averted. Take your time, seek reliable counsel, and remember that there is no urgency. The most prudent decisions are made with clarity rather than grief. Secondly, isolating oneself from friends and family following the loss of a spouse is a common inclination. While it is natural to desire solitude to process grief, it is crucial to recognize that complete withdrawal is not always beneficial. Isolating oneself from friends and family can exacerbate feelings of loneliness, complicating the healing process. Many individuals develop a tendency to withdraw, convincing themselves they require additional time. However, isolation can rapidly become a challenging cycle to disrupt. Human connection is vital for emotional well-being, particularly during periods of loss. Prolonged distancing often results in heightened feelings of sadness, anxiety, and even adverse physical health effects. Research indicates that extended social isolation can impair the immune system, elevate blood pressure, and potentially reduce lifespan. Conversely, maintaining connections, even minimally, can alleviate emotional distress and offer essential support. Consider the example of 78-year-old Walter. Following the death of his wife of 52 years, he ceased responding to phone calls, avoided family gatherings, and seldom left his home. He rationalized his behavior by claiming he lacked the inclination to converse and believed others would not comprehend his sorrow. Being solitary became simpler. However, as months elapsed, he experienced a decline in well-being. His days merged, his vitality diminished, and his appetite altered. It was only when a neighbor urged him to join for coffee that a transformation occurred. That singular dialogue evolved into a weekly ritual, subsequently establishing a minor routine of socializing with friends. The more he participated, the more buoyant he felt, not due to the eradication of his pain, but because he recognized he was not alone in his concerns. The essential principle is not to compel oneself into substantial social engagements prematurely. It involves undertaking minor actions to maintain connections, such as responding to a phone call, engaging in a brief walk with a friend, or participating in a support group. These seemingly trivial activities can prevent one from descending into profound loneliness. If verbal communication feels burdensome, that is acceptable. Merely being in the presence of others, even as a passive listener, can serve as a reminder that life persists and that support is accessible when required. Another common error is the tendency to alienate those who are most caring, as grief can often induce irritability. Exhaustion or the perception that others fail to comprehend your struggles may lead to isolation. However, completely excluding individuals can foster unwarranted separation from those who sincerely wish to assist. Your loved ones may lack the ideal expressions, yet their mere presence can be impactful. Gradually allowing them into your life can offer solace, even in the absence of verbal communication. Additionally, it is crucial to seek support from individuals who share similar experiences, particularly those who have endured comparable losses. Grief support groups, whether in-person gatherings or online forums, can be profoundly therapeutic. Engaging with individuals who genuinely comprehend your experiences can affirm your emotions and offer solace, reminding you that you are not isolated. Grief is not bound by a timeline, and there is no singular path to healing. However, complete isolation exacerbates the journey. Discovering incremental ways to reestablish connections with others at your own rhythm can yield strength, support, and even unforeseen moments of joy. Remember, you need not bear this burden alone. In the context of loss, there are individuals who genuinely care, who wish to support you, and who can assist you in progressing incrementally. If you are still viewing this video and find these insights beneficial, please comment number 2 below to indicate your presence. Additionally, if you have not yet subscribed, I recommend doing so and activating the notification bell to ensure you do not miss any future videos. Your support enables us to persist in producing quality content that informs and inspires you. Now, let us proceed to the next point: neglecting your own health and well-being when a spouse is involved. When an individual passes away, many individuals become so engulfed in sorrow that they neglect their own health. It is common to postpone medical appointments, skip meals, or abandon daily routines while coping with loss. Some may even experience guilt regarding self-care, as if prioritizing their health diminishes the intensity of their love or grief. However, the truth is that neglecting one's well-being does not facilitate a connection to the deceased. It merely complicates the path to healing. Grief has a profound impact on the body. Numerous individuals remain unaware that research indicates the loss of a spouse heightens the likelihood of cardiovascular issues, diminished immune response, and potential cognitive deterioration. The strain of bereavement may result in elevated blood pressure, disrupted sleep patterns, and alterations in appetite. Some individuals may experience a disinterest in food, while others may resort to unhealthy comfort foods. Over time, these modifications can significantly impact both physical and mental well-being. The essential approach is to refrain from anticipating an immediate return to normalcy, instead focusing on incremental decisions that bolster your physical resilience during this challenging period. James, an 81-year-old man, experienced a challenging period following the death of his wife. He ceased preparing meals for himself, rationalizing that he lacked hunger. When he did consume food, it was predominantly quick and processed foods. Within a few months, he began to feel increasingly weak, struggled with sleep, and experienced persistent fatigue. His daughter observed these changes and urged him to resume regular meals, regardless of his appetite. After implementing minor modifications, such as preparing simple, nutritious foods and increasing his water intake, he discovered that his energy levels increased, his mood stabilized, and he became more adept at managing the emotions associated with grief. Self-care encompasses more than nutrition. It also involves physical activity, sleep, and emotional well-being. Numerous individuals who lose a spouse cease exercising, not due to a lack of desire to remain active, but because they no longer have a companion for such activities. However, maintaining physical activity, even through a brief daily walk, has been demonstrated to alleviate stress, enhance mood, and potentially extend lifespan. Participating in a local walking group or exercise class can be beneficial. Engaging in physical activities can yield substantial health advantages and foster essential social connections. A prevalent error is the disregard for medical checkups. Numerous widows and widowers postpone routine doctor visits or delay seeking medical attention due to feelings of being overwhelmed. However, prioritizing health during this period is crucial. If you have not consulted a physician recently, schedule an appointment. Regular checkups, effective management of pre-existing health conditions, and adherence to prescribed medications can profoundly impact your overall well-being. Mental health, encompassing both physical and emotional dimensions, is equally vital as physical health. Grief can precipitate depression, anxiety, and profound feelings of hopelessness, particularly when compounded by isolation. If you're experiencing difficulties, do not hesitate to seek assistance. Engaging with a counselor, participating in a grief support group, or confiding in a trusted friend can offer solace and reassurance. You need not navigate this journey in solitude. Seeking support is not indicative of weakness, but rather a proactive step towards healing, which your spouse would have desired. It is essential to prioritize your well-being while honoring their memory. This entails living in a manner that enables you to discover moments of tranquility and resilience. It is permissible to grieve, to take your time, and to acknowledge the burden of loss. However, amidst this process, remember that your health remains significant, you are still present, and your well-being deserves safeguarding. Additionally, hastily entering a new relationship after the loss of a spouse can be tempting, as the emotional void left behind may seem insurmountable, and the ensuing loneliness can be profound. One of the most challenging aspects of grief is the desire for companionship, which may appear to be the sole means of coping. While seeking connection is not inherently problematic, a prevalent error among widows and widowers is hastily entering a new relationship before adequately processing their grief. The emotions associated with loss can engender a profound yearning for comfort. However, making significant romantic decisions prematurely can result in additional heartache, confusion, and regret. Grief does not adhere to a specific timeline, and individuals heal at their own pace. Individuals may take years to contemplate dating again, while others may feel prepared sooner. However, when emotions are heightened, the likelihood of entering a relationship for misguided reasons increases. Many individuals inadvertently seek a partner not out of genuine readiness, but rather to fill a void, alleviate loneliness, or evade emotional distress. Such relationships often commence with intense feelings but lack the requisite stability for enduring success. Consider the example of 72-year-old Barbara, who, just months after the loss of her husband, faced this dilemma. After nearly 50 years, she encountered an individual through a mutual acquaintance and swiftly commenced a relationship. Initially, it provided the companionship she urgently sought, someone to converse with, share meals, and alleviate her profound loneliness. However, as time progressed, she recognized her lack of readiness. The relationship advanced more rapidly than anticipated, leaving her feeling ensnared in an unsuitable situation. Ultimately, she needed to withdraw and prioritize her own well-being, yet in retrospect, she regretted not affording herself additional time. Prior to embarking on a significant decision, a new relationship ought to be founded on authentic connection rather than mere emotional solace. After decades spent with a spouse, habits, routines, and shared memories become profoundly entrenched. Engaging in a new relationship before adequately processing that loss may result in inequitable comparisons, unrealistic expectations, and feelings of guilt. Some widows and widowers grapple with conflicting emotions, desiring to progress while simultaneously feeling as though they are betraying their deceased partner. Such feelings are entirely natural. Emotions must be recognized and addressed prior to embarking on new relationships. Additionally, there is a risk of vulnerability to individuals with malicious intent. Regrettably, some exploit those in mourning, providing emotional support solely to manipulate or financially exploit them. Scammers, as well as well-intentioned but opportunistic individuals, frequently target widowed seniors who may be emotionally delicate and seeking companionship. Therefore, it is crucial to heed your instincts and proceed with caution when engaging with others. Pressure to hastily make financial decisions or to isolate oneself from friends and family are significant warning signs that should not be overlooked. This does not imply an eternal avoidance of love or companionship. Many widows and widowers do cultivate meaningful relationships later in life. However, the most healthy and fulfilling connections arise when both parties are genuinely prepared, with decisions stemming from a place of healing rather than desperation. Time and reflection are essential, allowing for the processing of grief and the rediscovery of personal identity. Establishing one's identity and achieving tranquility in solitude prior to pursuing a new romantic partner significantly influences the dating experience. If you opt to date again, proceed at your own tempo, allowing ample time to discern your genuine desires in a relationship, ensuring your motivations are sound. Engage in discussions with trusted friends or family regarding your emotions, and resist external pressures regarding the timing or necessity of solitude. Ultimately, the decision rests solely with you, as grief and healing are profoundly individual processes. Journeys entail no urgency, no deadlines, and no prescribed guidelines. The paramount consideration is to prioritize self-care, ensuring that any future relationship is established on a foundation of resilience, tranquility, and genuine companionship. If you are still viewing this video and find these insights beneficial, please comment number 4 below to indicate your presence. Additionally, if you have not yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so and activate the notification bell to avoid missing any videos. Your support is instrumental in our ability to produce quality content. To inform and inspire, let us proceed. Number 5. Clinging to every possession without relinquishment. One of the most challenging tasks following the loss of a spouse is determining the fate of their belongings. Each item is imbued with memories, and the prospect of letting go can evoke the sensation of losing them anew. Numerous widows and widowers grapple with this dilemma, retaining every article of clothing, personal belonging, and trivial item precisely as it was, fearing that any alteration signifies the erasure of their loved one's life. While it is understandable to retain certain possessions, clinging to everything indefinitely can exacerbate grief, hindering emotional healing and the capacity to progress. Retaining some sentimental items is entirely natural. There is no mandate to discard all belongings. However, maintaining an entire home in its original state for years, preserving closets unchanged, or refraining from any alterations can transform a residence into a shrine of sorrow rather than a sanctuary of solace. Over time, instead of fostering tranquility, it may become a source of distress. As a daily reminder of what has been lost, it complicates the transition to a new chapter in life. Consider the example of 76-year-old Harold. Following the death of his wife of 55 years, he preserved everything as she had left it. Her shoes remained by the door, her clothes stayed in the closet, and her favorite chair was left undisturbed. Initially, this seemed a means to maintain her presence, but as months elapsed, he recognized that passing by her untouched possessions daily was hindering high. However, as he gradually began to donate certain items while retaining a select few of significant value, he experienced a sense of relief. It was not about forgetting, rather, it was about creating space for healing. Letting go does not equate to forgetting or diminishing affection. It signifies granting oneself the opportunity to breathe. Instead of imposing abrupt changes, initiate the process incrementally. Select a handful of meaningful keepsakes, a piece of jewelry, a handwritten note, a cherished photograph, and establish a dedicated space for them. Subsequently, when you feel prepared, commence the process of sorting through additional belongings and determining what to retain. It is essential to discern what possesses genuine significance and what merely occupies space. Another common error individuals commit is succumbing to external pressures from friends or family to dispose of items before they feel prepared. While these suggestions may stem from good intentions, the decision to declutter should be made according to one's own timeline. If you are not ready, do not hasten the process. Conversely, be aware that clinging to possessions out of guilt or fear may prolong your emotional distress unnecessarily. Additionally, there exists an emotional equilibrium in repurposing items instead. Rather than merely discarding possessions, some individuals derive solace from repurposing an old shirt into a quilt, converting a compilation of letters into a memory book, or bequeathing cherished items to loved ones who will value them. In this manner, their essence endures, evoking warmth rather than mere sorrow. Ultimately, grief transcends material objects. It encompasses love, memories, and the connection shared. No item can substitute for a person, yet hoarding all that they owned will not resurrect them either. Embracing the act of letting go in deliberate and considerate ways is essential. It is not an act of forgetting. Rather, it is a step towards honoring their memory while simultaneously creating space for your own healing. Moving forward does not imply distancing yourself from them. It simply means carrying them with you in a manner that permits both love and life to coexist. Ultimately, losing a spouse is one of life's most profound and painful experiences. It alters everything: the way you live, the way you think, and even your perception of the future. Amidst grief, it is crucial to recognize that every decision made during this period carries significance. The capacity to facilitate or obstruct your healing underscores the importance of rejecting 5 specific behaviors: hastily making financial decisions, isolating oneself, neglecting personal health, prematurely entering a new relationship, and clinging to the status quo without embracing change. These actions can profoundly impact your ability to progress with resilience and clarity. Grief lacks a definitive timeline, and there exists no universally correct method for processing it. However, it is unequivocal that steering clear of these prevalent pitfalls can aid you in traversing this phase of your life. In a manner that safeguards both your emotional well-being and your future, healing does not equate to forgetting, nor does moving forward imply abandoning your spouse. It involves commemorating their memory in a way that enables you to pursue a life filled with purpose, tranquility, and even joy in the forthcoming moments. What resonated with you the most? Which of these insights do you consider paramount for your own journey? We invite you to share your reflections in the comments below, including one lesson you gleaned today and your intended application of it in your life. Your perspectives are valued. Please feel free to share your thoughts with us, as your feedback serves as significant motivation and encouragement. If you appreciated this video and found it beneficial, kindly like, subscribe, and share. Your support enables us to persist in producing quality content that informs and inspires. Thank you for watching, and we anticipate your presence in the next video.